China's inflation rose again in March despite government efforts to cool politically sensitive living costs, increasing expectations of more interest rate hikes and other steps to rein in rapid economic growth. Newly announced figures showed consumer prices rose 5.4% over a year ago, driven by an 11.7% surge in food costs. That was up from February's 4.9% increase. Inflation for the first quarter as a whole was 5% year-on-year.
Inflation is not just a Chinese problem now, but one faced by many countries. The reasons for China's inflation are complex. The drought in northern China this spring reduced food production. High global prices for oil and other raw materials have increased the cost of our imports. Japan's disaster and turmoil in the Middle East have also had an effect.
Since October, the government has boosted interest rates 4 times and taken other steps to cool prices. China's ruling Communist Party takes inflation very seriously because it erodes the public's gains from economic growth, possibly fueling unrest. Food prices are especially sensitive in a society where poor families spend up to half of their incomes on food. In the streets of Beijing, people gather to eat lunch. Some choose popular street restaurants as their prices are cheaper.
We feel the price rises. Every few months there is a new price for things we buy.
Adding to the government's troubles, other data showed the economy grew rapidly in the first 3 months of the year, expanding by 9.7% over a year ago. That was down only slightly from the previous quarter's 9.8% and came despite government efforts to steer China's expansion to a more sustainable pace. Chinese Prime Minister Wen Jiabao called for more efforts to cool inflation. His comments were unusually pointed for such a senior official and reflected mounting official urgency about controlling living costs. Wen cited surging housing costs despite government controls and rising public expectations of higher inflation. Stephen Rebay, Press TV, Beijing.